I'm over the moon, just welled up with emotion and joy. Um, I have great respect and admiration. I'm excited. I've known these young people since they were, young children, 9, 10. And so to see them on the big stage in the beautiful Dizzies it's just a dream come true to see it all come together and the love that they have for one another. The Jazz House Kids is now in their 20th year. I started it as just a happenstance. WBGO asked me one day to come in and do a program. And I thought I would come in, I'm a jazz singer, and I thought I would come in and do I would sing a concert. And they said, well, that's okay, but we'd like you to do something a little more, talk to them about jazz. And I said, well, who's the audience? And they said, well, it'll be, from 2 to 14 and all of their parents. And I thought, what am I going to do with that? And the truth of the matter is, the week before I thought I got laryngitis, I had the flu. I mean, I did everything to get out of this moment. But, I showed up and I decided to kind of distill what I really love about this music, and that it just brings people together in this conversation. But we can really come at it from different places. So we built a jazz house that day, and unbeknownst to me, that would turn into my life's work. And some 20 years later, I think our young people are soloing and singing to greatness and taking this music forward. And, they're community leaders and global citizens is what I say we're about.
I joined Jazz House. I can't remember. I think I was also middle school, and that was probably a big part of. It was definitely a big part of why I came to love the music. When I got there were already so many students that could play on such an extraordinary level that you had no choice but to learn and learn very quickly. Well,
first of all, to know Isaiah is to know that this young man has been here before. And, he's an old soul. And he immediately, when he walks into the room, people pay attention to him and they listen to him. He's got wisdom, he's got empathy, and he has virtuosity on his instrument. He's a serious musician, but he also enjoys a life. And he's so encouraging of other young people. But what I really remember is when he first came into the Jazz House, we had a number of very, very talented students. And when you have that, they bring along other students because they're just, we're attracted to what they have achieved. And that's a wonderful inspiration for others. And so my husband, Christian McBride, was at camp one day, and we do it every summer. And he said, I know you're looking around at all these wonderful students because we had so many knockout rising stars. He said, but you guys need to pay attention to that young man with the hat on the piano because he's got it.
Jazz House. My dad found out about Jazz House, I believe online or through a friend. It was 2012, and I joined their summer camp. I was 12 years old, and I had no idea. At this point, I still didn't know that I was going to be a pianist. I was into it, and it was more like a hobby because I was into other things. And so I had no idea who Christian McBride was. I had no idea who Joe Lovano, all these guest artists they had. It was just another summer camp, and I was looking at it as like a recreational camp or whatever, and go and have fun and be around kids my age. But through the next 7 years of my life, it turned into like one of the biggest inspirations and motivations for me along, like I said, Fred was really that turning point, but Jazz House nurtured that for the next 7 years. Like Jazz House is the reason that I am the musician that I am, and the reason that I really am still playing piano.
You know, Caelan is an outstanding young man. You know, and I think that's something that I think is so important, that you're outstanding on stage and off stage, right? That it matters the human being that you are, the character, you know, that really matters, I think, for all of us, and the humanity that you express. Well, Caelan is a joy. One of the things I can say in one of the fun special trips we just took with Caelan is we brought him to the Middle East, and we went to Bahrain. And to see this young person, again, soak up the culture, be so warm and so giving. Every moment he was just interested in exploring, interested in talking to people, interested in sharing his music. The consummate professional, he was prepared on stage, you know, he could handle all aspects. I mean, he's gonna be a great road warrior, okay? And he just, you know, brings so much to bear with his music. I've watched him grow. This young man has been part of the program since about 11. He comes back and plays with us and works with our students. And again, you know, just another incredible young person with great virtuosity.
I met Caelan. I can't even remember exactly when I met him. I know I just feel like I remember seeing him, and he's always, you know, sounded great, you know, and it was never, you know, there was always sort of a love about Jazz House, you know. Even when I sing, you know, Esteban, he was, I don't know how old he was at the time when he came in.
At the audition, I remember I was after Esteban, who at the time was maybe 7 years old, or, you know, he was like this little bundle of energy. And I just remember going in and sitting down outside the room and hearing this kid playing like all this like crazy stuff. And I thought it was like a college student or someone in high school, and this little dude walks out, and I'm like, oh, okay, like this is what's going on here.
I met Caelan, actually I met both Caelan and Isaiah my first year at Jazz House. Caelan and I were in the same big band, and Isaiah was a little older, so he was in the, you know, the higher level big band. Both of them were definitely leagues above me. I was a little kid. I remember really looking up to Isaiah because he was about 15 or 16, and I was like 9, and so he was kind of like my you know, elder, quote unquote. And he was always really, I mean, he was always really nice and always really like welcoming to me. And I you know, of course, you know, you don't have to do that to a 9-year-old. A lot of 15, 16-year-olds would kind of shrug that off, but he was always really kind. And so I really looked up to Isaiah a lot. And Caelan and I just very much gelled because we were kind of more similar in age. We're only like 2 years apart, and there weren't a lot of us younger kids at Jazz House at the time. So we became pretty close friends throughout the years. And yeah, he was always, he was great. He introduced me to my longtime teacher, Fred Hirsch, for example. And he's just always been really great. Really good friends, and I'm glad we're getting to reconnect a little through the APA.
How comes this little kid?
Yeah.
And it's Esteban.
It's Esteban, yes. Well, and I think that's what's so wonderful. I mean, one of the things about Jazz House is we place students where they place themselves. And so with Esteban, he was always in the top group. And he started at the Jazz House when he was 9 years old. And we were kind of joking today, and he was saying, you know, I was a bit of a troublemaker, wasn't I? Well, he was just a bit of a smarty pants, you know. And we loved him immediately because, again, there was this child, just so talented, so committed to his music, playing everything, playing in all keys, you know, this strong, again, classical background that he came from, and then, you know, just wowing everyone. And one of the things that I really remember is that we did a number of, we worked with the New Jersey Ballet, and we had had arranged a number of pieces of music, and there was a piece of Scott Joplin, and it was going to be stride piano and solo. And here he was at 11 or 12 playing this stride piano, and the dancers could barely concentrate because they were just staring at this, young child play this music. There's just our trips to Peru, we've been around the world with each and every one of these young people, and they're just generous. They're generous musicians and people, and it's pure joy to see them together and to see the artists that they're becoming, the human beings, and the friendships that I know will be, lifelong.
It was never competitive. It wasn't like that, and it never will be like that,
Another thing that I remember Isaiah saying once is that he found out early on that, well, if I, would practice 10 minutes, I got a little better. And he came to Dizzy's, as a matter of fact, a few years ago, and he was talking to the young people here at the Jazz House who were performing, and he said, I just knew if I put in a little extra every single day, I got a little better. And, you can see with Caelan, Esteban, and Isaiah that they've put in a lot of extra. This is wonderful, and I think, as one of the young men said today, it's really good that you are here for them to, bring this opportunity. A rigorous and exciting schedule for them, support that they're going to need as artists, a platform with the Cole Porter Fellowship. I mean, that level of seriousness, meeting the level of seriousness of these young people, means that they are going to have what they need to pursue this at an even higher level. So, and to see the, Sullivan Fortner and Aaron Deal, Emmett Cohen, we're going to be here standing beside you. We've got some other really fantastic pianists, so they'll be there in 4 years. They'll be knocking on your door again.